Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this live stream. I am back speaking to my audience about just general questions. And in particular, I want to share some of the things which I've learned about zombie scrolling, some of the science and some of the psychological studies about how this impacts people. So, the first thing I want to do is say Assalamu alaikum, and if you can write in the comments, where are you watching from? Okay, so I try and go live at a time which is, the best sort of time, but sometimes people are watching in America and it's a bit early for them, and people in the UK, it's the right time for them, and then people in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, is kind of late for them. So brother Faizan is watching from India. Khalid Kahil, where you watching from? Destination Jannah. Berlin. Berlin. I haven't been to. Have I ever been to Berlin? That's the question. I've been to Germany. I think I've been twice, but I don't think I've been Germany. Don't think I've been Berlin. Kuwait. North London. Peekaboo is saying North London. Well, I'm live right now in North London as well. Bangladesh. I've never been to Bangladesh. I want to definitely go there, inshallah. I'd love to go Dhaka and try out some of the local cuisine. Turkey. Nice. Norway. Nice. Bangladesh. Okay, cool. And what is the from Sydney, Australia, visiting Berlin? Okay. Malmo, Sweden. Right. I've been to Malmo. It's a very nice place. Not much you don't really get that many, like the day's pretty short. It's like, I think Fajr's maybe 8, 9-ish, and 2 o'clock is like Maghrib. Brazil. Pedro is watching from Brazil. Amazing. Dimas from Indonesia. Nice. Welcome. Such an international audience. I feel honored. So, I wanted to speak about zombie scrolling today and also speak about some other topics, questions that you guys have. Let's go with the first question. Is university education worth it? Yeah. I mean, it really depends on what course you do, but generally the answer is yes. Can't really think of any reasons why it wouldn't be. Jarwood from America. Texas. I haven't been to Texas since I debated Aaron Ra. That was a long time ago. 8 years ago. My God. Canada. Nice. Welcome. Okay. How many people here? Miracle. How many people here are suffering from some sort of Islam? Uncle, you old now. Yeah, I do get that a lot. Look like Darwin. Get that a lot. Not sure why. Maybe I talk about him a lot. Okay. So guys, let's talk about something very important. How many people here have a problem with zombie scrolling? Like, let's talk about this crazy problem that we have. How many people here suffer from zombie scrolling? 0 is you don't suffer at all. 10 is where you are addicted. So from 0 to 10, where are you? Let's hear it from the people. joking. You don't look a day. Okay, the anti-Darwin. Okay. Alrighty. Let me just. Am I in YouTube? Am I here? Where the heck am I? Sometimes I. Oh, there we go. So, guys, is zombie scrolling a problem? Yes or no? Please put this in the comment section below. Do you have a problem with zombie scrolling? Oops, there's a bit of a 7, 3. Okay. 7, 3. Yes, I can't focus on study. Okay. Gong Kong, where are you calling from? I want to talk to you because you said something about study. Big problem, Shazad Ali. Okay. Steve Khan, yes. Ahmed 1, Khalid Khalil 7, Luqman Hakim 7. All right. Anybody else? Okay, so what are you studying, Gong Kong? I don't zombie scroll, but I binge watch Muslim streams or Sapiens Institutes while at work. That's not zombie scrolling. That's actually fine. It's not a problem. That's not zombie scrolling, my friend. So you are fine with that. That's not really too much of a problem. Okay, affects my sleep. Yes, of course it does. Why wouldn't zombie scrolling affect your sleep? It is a terrible addiction. To stop zombie scrolling, we need discipline. What is discipline according to Islam? Okay. I'm obviously going to be telling everybody to do the course. This is something I've launched, and I'm very, very keen on people learning this in a formal way. However, I do not want to allow anybody to miss out the opportunity to learn something. So, firstly, zombie scrolling is a symptom of not having goals in life. Okay, so let me explain it this way. I'm going to ask a question and I want you guys to answer it. If you right now had to deal with an exam tomorrow in the morning you had an exam, and this exam was going to be something that's going to impact your career, your finances, your personal relationships, everything will be affected by this exam, and you have this exam tomorrow morning, are you going to zombie scroll today? As opposed to when you don't have the exam and you have nothing to do. Will you having a deadline of an exam tomorrow affect your zombie scrolling? Let's see the answers to this. Brother Bashir, wa alaikum salam. Nope. You're exactly right, Gong Kong. You're not going to zombie scroll because you have a deadline, you have a goal, you have something to achieve, right? Isra ul Israr ul Sifat said the same thing. No. Before I'm very serious. Okay? Of course. All right. So what we have to keep in mind is if we have a deadline, we're not going to zombie scroll. We're not going to zombie scroll because we have a deadline, we have something to do. Okay. If your life has a high ambitions, high goals, there's things you want to achieve in your life, then naturally you're going to have deadlines in your life. And naturally, if you're going to have deadlines in your life, then you will not have the chance to zombie scroll. So, for example, you're not going to zombie scroll all night if you know tomorrow you have work. You're not going to zombie scroll if you know you have an exam the next day. You're not going to zombie scroll if you have, say, an important case. There's some sort of legal case that you need to deal with. You need to read through some paperwork, whatever it is. You're not going to zombie scroll in those cases, are you? So you are going to zombie scroll when you are free, when you don't have deadlines. So yeah, some students zombie scroll even though they have exams going on. So the first thing to keep in mind is you need to have desire. That's the first D. Desire. The desire to stop zombie scrolling. And this is your elephant. Imagine you are an elephant, your emotions are an elephant rather, and your brain is the rational part. Which one is more powerful? Your feelings are more powerful or your brain is more powerful? So imagine there's an elephant on a rider. Okay. Which one is more powerful? Is it that the rider who's trying to control the elephant or the elephant? Which one's more powerful? Come on, guys. Elephant or rider? Waiting for answers. Which one's more powerful? Elephant or rider? That's the zombie scrolling course for anybody that wants to join. While we're talking, you can also have a look. And it's pinned in the comments as well. Rider. Okay, here's why the rider is not powerful. The mud has answered. What a name. Physically, the elephant. Physically, the elephant is more powerful. Obviously, the elephant. Okay. Now, the elephant is your emotions. Your elephant is your emotions, and the rider is your brain. Okay, so somebody that's addicted to smoking, do they rationally know smoking is bad for them? Yes. But emotionally, they are addicted to smoking. Since they're emotionally addicted to smoking, they are going to smoke. The elephant is more powerful than the rider. Okay, let's go back to the most powerful example of emotion that you can have as as something that all human beings experience. It's actually sexual urges, especially if you're young, if you're a teenager, right? Alhamdulillah, I'm no longer a teenager. If you're a teenager, you have raging hormones, and it can be very, very difficult, right? So a young man who is extremely interested in the opposite gender, there's a girl he has in mind, he wants to be her boyfriend and he wants to have sex with her, he's imagining her, he's in this world of lust and pleasure, and he's thinking about it, and she's also inviting him, right? That is a really, really powerful emotion. In this case, the young man may know zina is haram, zina is bad for you. However, the elephant, the feelings, the emotions, they are very strong. In this case of the young man who has the feelings of lust and desire and sex, and his elephant is telling him to do that, and the rider is telling him, don't do that. Who's going to win between the rider and the elephant? Who's going to win in this battle between the rider and the elephant? Anyone? Between the rider and the elephant, who is going to be The elephant. Thank you, brother Asad. The elephant is going to win. Okay? Because the elephant's powerful. So to that young man, if you just say to him, zina is haram, you're speaking to him rationally, the elephant is unaffected. So you haven't really affected the young man. Now, imagine what would happen if this young man came up to a rational person, just a purely rational person, and said that they want to commit zina. What would the rational person say? The rational person who's only dealing with logic would say, don't commit zina, it's haram. Done. So the young man has his elephant who's raging, and the mind is telling him, pulling him back, telling him, don't do that. And then the other person, the preacher, the imam, whoever it is, says to him, don't commit zina, zina is haram. It's not going to work, is it? It's not going to work. Now, what happened when the young man, and this is a true story, this actually happened, this is recorded in history, it happened with certainty. A young man came up to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and said, allow zina for me. I'm going to paraphrase the narration. Everyone knows this narration. Allow zina for me. The Prophet, peace be upon him, did not say it's haram. Instead, the Prophet appealed to his emotions, to his elephant. The Prophet said to him, would he like it if someone committed zina with the women folk of his family? Would he like it if someone committed zina with his sister? Would he like it if someone committed zina with his mother? Would he like it if someone committed zina with his daughter? So he is being asked these questions. Would you like it if this happened? So he's getting the young man to not feel lust and desire, but to feel disgust. I wouldn't like if someone did that to women in my family. I wouldn't like that if someone did that to my sister. I wouldn't like someone doing that to my mother. So now the emotion of lust has been replaced with disgust. And the young man said, I'll never commit zina after this conversation. Okay. I paraphrase the narration there. Everybody knows. What did the Messenger of Allah do? He appealed to the man's elephant. He appealed to his emotion. And that is the key to change. If you want to change any bad behavior, it could be watching pornography, zombie scrolling, you could be selling drugs, you could be in a haram relationship, you could be earning haram income, you could be involved in anything. In order for you to give up that evil sin, what you have to do is you have to appeal to your elephant. You have to change your state of mind. You have to imagine the consequences which are going to get you emotional. So say somebody is in a haram relationship. To get yourself emotional, you may think, well, what if I am in a haram relationship and I die while committing zina? You may be a drug dealer. And let's be honest, I'm sorry to say, and we have to be honest about this, who runs the drugs in London? It's the Muslims, sadly. Who runs the drugs in the UK? Who runs the drugs in Europe? It's Muslims, sadly. It is so sad. If you come across a Muslim drug dealer, or if you happen to be a drug dealer yourself, someone comes up to you and says, brother, alcohol is haram and drugs are even worse than alcohol, and obviously drugs are haram and you're destroying families. What are you doing? This is not right. You're just appealing to the rational aspect. But if you say to that person, the drug dealer, well, you know, some of the women that you are selling drugs to, they have to prostitute themselves to get the money to buy your drugs. Imagine that was your sister. Imagine you die right now and the angel of death comes to you and is in front of you, and you're in that state that you got your drugs, you got your gear, you got your shank to protect yourself. Like, what kind of lifestyle is this? You get the person scared, you get the person worried, you get the person disgusted about what happened if this was to happen to someone in my family. You appeal to the drug dealer's emotion. Likewise, we are all on crack, brothers and sisters. I'm sorry to say, you and me are all on crack. The actual crack that we are on is exactly the same as the real crack in the real world. The only difference is the intensity. We are zombie scrolling. And what are we doing? Just like a slot machine, we have these urges these dopamine urges, dopamine induced urges to go and scroll. Okay. And when we scroll now and again, just like in a gambling machine, we hit the jackpot. We're scrolling, something's not interesting, bang, a riot happens, or some sexual image, or something crazy, or some cat jumping on someone's head, something mad, something that massively increases your dopamine, right? That reward, you get the hit, right? Your brain registers, ooh, doing this little activity of scrolling, I get, you know, dopamine is released while I'm searching for the reward, because dopamine is about seeking, it's about motivation. Then you get the hit. You're like, whoa, look at that, right? Could be someone doing a crazy experiment, and you or some interesting historical video. You may think it's harmless. It's not harmless, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a dopamine spike. So this is your baseline dopamine. Then you're going to have a spike. You're going to have a spike because you're zombie scrolling. Then you can't just keep going up and up and up and up in terms of dopamine. There's only a limited amount of dopamine that can be produced by your brain. So you crash. You don't go back to the normal level you were on. You go down. You go below the baseline. So this is the baseline dopamine that you need to function in the day. What happens? You go through a spike, then you crash beneath the baseline. You are lower than before. You're lower than before. So the way to think about it is this: dopamine is screwing up your life, because once you have the zombie scrolling binge, you're going to go on a low. And what happens when you go on a low? You are lower than your baseline. You're lower than before. You feel depressed. You feel dumb. You feel you can't pay attention, because now, oh, there's some book, right? Some interesting book that you need to read because you have an exam, or you have a client, you're a lawyer, or whatever it is, right? And you are, trying to study. You're reading. Note that the three mismatch repair proteins display. You're like, what the hell? I can't focus on this. Let me go and zombie scroll. That's what happens. You start zombie scrolling. Because you're like, I can't, this is not inducing enough dopamine for me. I need to go back to scrolling. Now, there's a few problems. When you go back to scrolling, so say this is your baseline, you scrolled and had a spike, you go down, not to the baseline, you go underneath, right? Now you are beneath the baseline. There's the baseline, you're beneath the baseline. Now what you need to do is you're going to try and do more scrolling to go bring your dopamine up. But this time your dopamine won't be as up as before. It's really sad. What happens is you have a spike, goes down. Then you have another spike, but the spike is lower than before. Then you go even further down. Then you have another spike and it goes even further down, right? You have this downward spiral. This is why, brothers and sisters, you feel miserable. You feel miserable after you do zombie scrolling. You feel numb. You feel dumb. You feel depleted. You feel deprived. You feel depressed. Why? Because you have released all that dopamine, and you need dopamine to hold a conversation. You need dopamine to focus. You need dopamine to be able to pray with concentration. Your attention is being smashed. If you have the ability, some people have, Allahumma barik, they have the ability to focus in and read a topic for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. Nowadays, a average university student, an average, even a dad in their 50s, they cannot focus for more than a few seconds because their ability to focus has been destroyed. Another problem is when you're scrolling, your brain is telling you, the brain is being programmed. You don't need to do a grand goal or a grand objective or vision or do something great in order to get dopamine. You can get dopamine just by scrolling. So you no longer are motivated to do hard work to get dopamine, because when you do hard work, like you're studying or you're working on your life's goal, you're working on business, whatever, your dopamine is released gradually and it keeps going up and up and up, and you're getting better, and your baseline is even going up, right? When you have goals in life, when you have things in life you're working towards, when you're in a state of flow, when you're working towards something meaningful. But when that hard work is taken out of the equation, when it's simply scrolling, reward, no hard work, scrolling, reward, scrolling, reward, scrolling, reward, easy reward, that's when you screwed up your brain. You really messed up, because now you're not going to be able to concentrate. You're not going to be able to read a book. You're not going to be able to pray salah. You're not going to be able to pay attention at work. How many people you go to a superstore, whatever, and the security guard, and they're not even paying attention. They're not even paying attention. I read 30 pages of Sirah in 2 hours and wasted hours in scrolling. Do you know what? I'll tell you something interesting. If you wake up in the morning, you scroll, you've overstimulated your brain, and the rest of the day, the important tasks that you need to do seem very boring to you because you had a massive dopamine spike earlier on. The way to explain it is this, okay? One day, your children come home from school, so you tell them, okay, we need to do our homework, we need to do this and this because we need to give it in tomorrow. Your child may like it, may not like it. They'll be like, okay, I'll do it. Previously, they were at school, they came home, so they went from an environment of normal stimulation, coming home, normal stimulation, they're normal. Imagine they came home and they played PlayStation or Nintendo, or whatever these kids are playing nowadays, Minecraft. They're playing for 2 hours. Their brains are overstimulated. All this dopamine and happy chemicals are being released. Now, in the middle of their game, you say, stop, take out the plug. And you say, no, you need to do your homework. What does the child do? They go mad. They go absolutely bonkers. Why? They go beast mode, right? Because you have taken them from a state of overstimulation to less stimulation, and you're telling them to do something which gives less stimulation, and they can't handle it, and they scream and they shout. You're no different. You may not show it, gamer age. Thank you, my brother. They may not show it, right? Funnily enough, do you know what this is? This is the guy setting up the Professor Dave debate. So I have to take this phone call. Give me a second. All right. So that's some good news. Just in a few days, the university committee is going to confirm. There doesn't seem to be any objections at the moment. So inshallah, in a few days, there's going to be a confirmation of the actual dates. And everything else has been sorted. The money has been sorted and other things have been sorted. So it was a big task because I'm in the middle of a few things. I just launched a dopamine course. Also just had some other things working on. We have a campaign as well on the 10th of August. So there's a few things going on. But alhamdulillah, according to this phone call, things look quite good. So in a few days' time, inshallah, I'm going to be making a announcement. One of the beautiful brothers from Birmingham. Anyone here from Birmingham know brother Sneef? Amazing character. He's actually setting up everything. And the beautiful thing about this is the format of the debates and the way that they're going to be done is, I think, inshallah, going to be the best debates that have been on the internet from a Muslim atheist perspective in a long time. Obviously, there's fantastic debates, but in terms of getting in from an evolutionary perspective, I'm not just talking about just general debates that people do. It's going to be something quite interesting. Sorry, I've hay fever. So I'm quite happy. I was talking about zombie scrolling in the middle. I got my own dopamine hit. It's going to be announced. What he said is going to be confirmed by the weekend. So inshallah, I'll make the announcement on Monday. And in terms of communication, I'm not going to be communicating with this complete fake charlatan. It's actually going to be the uni guys. So they're going to be communicating with him. They're going to be organizing stuff on their end. They're going to be organizing stuff on my end. And yeah, look at that. While I'm live, I just got a phone call and good. Okay, I'm happy. Where were we? What was the last thing I said before I got the phone call, guys? Uh, thank you for the du'as, my brothers, sisters. Let's go back to dopamine spikes also increase the base level dopamine in the body. That's exactly what it does, right? Um, his dopamine is about to be crashed. No, I don't think so. I think he's quite excited about this as well, which is going to be fun. I like feisty opponents. I don't like, boring people. I mean, thank you, Gong Kong. There you go. Stop asking about Dave. Yeah, I mean, people were quite impatient. One of the things that was really taking a lot of time with the university confirmations were the Palestine protests. There was a lot going on. A lot of the Islamic societies were involved in these protests, and for them, like to try and contact them in the middle of even now what's going on is actually was actually a bit of a headache, which is why it took longer than it normally does. Are you aware of the TikTok test? To test your brain, I run it on my students to prove to them they're brain damaged. No, I don't know the TikTok test. Are there similar issues when watching videos about Palestine? Because that's all I can do in the mornings. Now, my brother, the thing is, that's not zombie scrolling. When you're watching news about something as important as what's happening in Gaza, the genocide, because that is the right description of the Palestinians, that is not zombie scrolling. That is you, my brother, may Allah bless you, having a care for this ummah and looking into this. I'm really not of the opinion of those people who say, don't watch those videos, don't watch those things, you become desensitized, or you can't change the situation, then don't watch things that are going to disturb you. I don't believe in that at all. I think it's complete nonsense. The ummah is one body, and yeah. So there's some really hateful comments against hijab and Ali Dawa. I have to ban and delete those people. Um, Okay. Thank you, my brother Saifullah. May Allah make you from one of the swords of Allah. People think Khalid bin Walid was the only sword of Allah. Nope. There are many swords of Allah. Sister Sarah is saying from high to sudden low. Absolutely, that's the problem. The Dave guy is very rude. I mean, he's not that rude compared to the people that we come across in Speaker's Corner. Like, come on, man. Speaker's Corner is a mental asylum. You know, this and he doesn't have any debating experience. His, you know, the way he's conducting himself in the James Tor debate, it's clear he doesn't know how to debate. It's clear that he doesn't know how to win over an audience. He starts insulting the audience. No one likes pure arrogance, especially when it's not just confidence, it's actually arrogance, and it's not backed up by anything. So if you're going to act like, oh yes, I'm the bee's knees, well, the man's asking you to solve a simple thing or draw a simple thing on the board, and you're not doing it. You know, he's the creationist. You're supposed to be the science guy, right? You're supposed to know more, not get scared and just sit there. And his body language is really off. If you watch the debate, something I recommend, watch the debate between James Tor and Dave and put it on mute and just watch his body language. The guy doesn't even know how to compose himself. Like, he doesn't. He's just sitting there. Like, you could tell by his face that he's not comfortable. And you could tell he's just a little boy. He's just a little boy. He's just a little, as Asadullah says, intellectual peasant. Yeah, he's not like, how shall I put it? Like, James Tor debate just made him look terrible because, oh, I'm a professor, like Professor Dave. It's like, you're not even a professor. You don't even have a PhD. You're debating a professor. At least shut up and listen to him. You might learn something. Okay. I mean, it's better if you said who you're referring to. It's not good to just say Indian and African. I mean, I'm Pakistani, and a lot of times Pakistani say, oh, Indians are like this and Indians are like that. But I think Islamically, you can't judge people so easily in such a big sort of group. Even in India, with the rise of Hindutva and all of this nonsense, right? There are very moral Hindus who were totally against what happened in Gujarat. I actually met in 2012 or 2013, there was a Dawa campaign. I met an old Indian man who wasn't born in this country, spent all his life in pretty much India. And he was saving lives of people during the time of the killing of Muslims in Gujarat in 2002. Abu Dalsa Fuba commented today's video, started swearing there. Yeah, I found it weird when I put up a post. He commented like 13 or 17 times. It's crazy. It's like, this guy has just got too much time. So, brother, may Allah bless you. You keep asking about Savante Pabo. I don't like to just put out things randomly. There's some things of his that I'm going to be, using. So thank you for your reminder. No, he's not even a professor. Why do you have books behind you can't read? This is my cousin who just lives like I could literally end this stream, just walk up the road, knock on his door, and just punch him right now. He's always leaving these comments. Why don't you, Salman, if you're brave, why don't you jump on a live stream? Let's have a chat. Yep. Castrop is well known. Brother Carl. Assalamu alaikum. Was giving dawah to a man at work and he brought up the ancient emerald tablets. So-called alien king Aram Ra. Have you experienced? No. No. There's a guy killed and burned in Pakistan after he's blamed for burning the Quran, even though they shouldn't you. Yeah, I mean, something like this is ridiculous. You can't do that Islamically. I mean, there's cases in like Pakistan is a place where so many un-Islamic practices are happening. This is one of them, right? There's no, you have to have a process for anything. If anybody does anything, people in Pakistan, all over Pakistan, are committing, shirk at shrines, going and calling upon the dead. Women are denied their right of inheritance, domestic abuse, things like this, the lynch sort of thing where somebody said something and somebody said, oh, this guy's a blasphemer and there's no evidence, nothing, and just kill the guys. Yeah, horrible things are happening. But I don't agree with you where you've said, well, that's what I'm supposed to do is deal with that first. No. That's for the scholars of Pakistan to come out and say, we condemn this and this is not right and that's not right, and to say what Islam actually says about many of these things. I don't like comments like this where someone just says, and you get this all the time, oh, there's Muslims who are like drug dealers in London. Most of the drug dealers are Muslim. Shouldn't you be dealing with that? Why are you talking to atheists? No, that doesn't make any sense, my brother. That makes zero sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. How can one be good at debate? I would say, firstly, you need to be right. You need to be right. You need to be right. If you're not right, then there's no point like coming up with arguments or your rhetoric. You fundamentally need to be right, and you need to be right like in a way that's quite articulate and lucid, right? You need to keep things simple rather than bamboozle the audience with confusing things, because that can sometimes happen. Right? You just start talking. In a way, James Tor and Dave, this fake charlatan professor, their debate was kind of like, it's hard to follow because it's like it's getting very technical. But everybody, even if they couldn't understand the debate, they could understand that the behavior of this charlatan, this fake professor, was just really pathetic, especially considering the age difference, right? I mean, Dave is like, looks like a kid in front of this guy. Just that, just the fact that this guy's head is full of gray hair and he's been publishing peer-reviewed papers for decades and he's got a PhD and he's a full professor, and you're just some YouTuber making videos for teenagers. Like, come on, know your role. Yeah, I mean, as long as the premises aren't too sciencey, because sometimes arguments, even in philosophy, they depend a bit too much on uh, scientific premises. It's better to try and limit those. Yeah, he's accepted. And for those of you who were not on this live stream earlier, um, I got a phone call and things are moving. So in a couple of days, inshallah, there'll be an announcement. Gildard Clive, why did you suddenly go irrelevant from the dawah like I used to watch you and you were famous those days? My brother, I don't even know how to answer that. I guess all du'at go through periods of being popular and then not popular. But is that what matters? Or what matters is the substance that you bring, the content that you bring, the number of people that you actually help. Generally, are you giving dawah to people? Are you speaking to people? I think that's what's important. You know, fame is a double-edged sword. Uh, it's something that happens when you're involved in dawah, but you know, people go through seasons up and down, and ultimately, you know, a few decades from now, even maybe a decade or two from now, maybe a few years from now, we'll all be dead. All the du'at, all the famous people, the famous, the less famous, the middle famous, everyone's gone. We're in our graves for, you know, decades. No one cares about us. And ultimately, the only thing that matters is you and your deeds. This is a topic I've been thinking about because I've noticed that there's a type of rat race to be famous. This is just generally human beings. But this then also comes across in Muslims. But as Muslims, we should know that your status with Allah, your maqam with Allah, your elevated position has nothing to do with how famous you are. It's purely to do with your ikhlas, with your sincerity. Paul is going to be back on this channel, inshallah, in 2025. Yes. Yeah, brother, you've been sending me a few emails. Sorry, I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of questions. I work full time. I have businesses, so I can't always get back to people. Look, just go back to Descartes' example. Dream, not dream. You exist. You can think. You build that up. There must be a God. Don't be in this vicious cycle of just doubting your existence and just wasting your time like this. Ibn Khaldun cycle of the art. I don't know what that is. Maybe brother Dino, you can explain it. Yep. Farid responds, one of my, not one of my, I would say, if I was asked who is your favorite person in the dawah, I'd probably say Farid. And the reason why, and again, Farid may not be as famous as, I mean, he's famous, but he's not as famous as maybe others, right? People who are super, super famous. Um, Nasheed artists and other major speakers. But the reason why I like Farid, may Allah bless him, is he's bringing original content, original research, relevant stuff, and he's not just producing content, he's producing solid content. Um, like, you know, saying madkhali and this and that. The thing is, brothers, sisters, it's like, do we need this? You know, this person's this person's this person's this. Is better to not be a victim of your own criticism. Because if you're going to say, well, this person's madkhali, that person's this person's that, this person's deviant, this isn't Islam to just go around throwing labels at people. You know, my brothers, if you are on social media and you go and say, this guy's a madkhali, this guy's a deviant, this guy's this guy's that, this guy's khariji, this guy, this, you're just destroying your good deeds. You're destroying your good deeds. What are you doing? What are you doing? What do you benefit from like, I don't know, and people are being called, this guy is a crypto Zionist and this person's this. Allah knows what people are. Okay, there's nobody who doesn't care about the Palestinians. Everybody cares about the Palestinians. People may hold different political positions, whatever it is. Be tolerant, right? Be tolerant, and um, do not judge someone purely by. Look, I'll tell you something very simple. I was, and if someone says something to me, you know, I don't really care. I actually don't really care. I'm going to say this anyway. Um, I was speaking to a young Muslim who's at university, and I started telling him about certain, just a normal conversation, and I started saying, you know, in Islam we're supposed to follow the rulers, and you know, just explaining the standard thing in Islam. And the young university student said to me, you sound like a madkhali. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense. Like, the idea that you're supposed to have a peaceful society, you don't rebel against the ruler, this is not a madkhali position. This is a position that all Muslim scholars have held for 1400 years. There's, of course, exceptions to that, and they discuss what are the exceptions. When do you follow? When do you not follow? There is no obedience to creation in disobedience to Allah. Or it's very clear what Islam says for centuries and centuries. Now, I was just articulating a standard Muslim position. I don't get involved in online polemics. And this person's like, oh, you sound like a madkhali. It's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Stop throwing these labels, right? Rationally think, this is my Muslim brother. If they'd said something, maybe they have evidence for it. Maybe I don't agree with the evidence. Maybe they follow scholars that I don't follow. Like, what is this nonsense of just attacking each other? I absolutely hate this, and I can't stand this. Mm. It's not about disproving, and it's not even about evolution. Evolution, the basic idea that life on Earth changed biologically over the history of the Earth, billions of years. That's fine. Who cares? It's not. Darwinism, neo-Darwinism, the modern synthesis, this needs to be challenged. Do we need to disprove it? No. What do we need to do? We need to allow them to give us evidence for it, and then we can look at whether the evidence is valid and whether it warrants someone saying this is true. I don't think they can do that. I think there's plenty of problems with it for us to say it may be a credible, viable, naturalistic scientific theory, but it's not true. And in fact, even from a naturalistic perspective, there are lots and lots of problems, some problems which can't be solved. Ultimately, it's about theism and naturalism. Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. All right, brothers, sisters, I've put this in the link, my zombie scrolling course. How many people here have actually done this zombie scrolling course? Or actually want to do the zombie scrolling course? Can you just let me know? How many people here want to do it? We need to show there's divergent views on the mechanism of evolution, natural selection, epigenetics, mutation-driven natural genetic engineering. Yes, my man. You know what you're talking about. Oh, did my phone die? No, it didn't die. Here it is. All righty, brothers and sisters. Okay. What I'm going to do now is ask someone a very important question. The question is, when was the last time you read one verse of the Quran? Even one. Watching this in grayscale, my man. Yes, my man, watching in grayscale. He knows. This man knows. Proud of him. Quranly. We all need to reconnect to the Quran, even read 1 or 2 verses a day, 3 verses a day. We need to get into this habit, brothers and sisters. The Quran is not just something you read in Ramadan and you don't even understand it because you don't know Arabic. No, you read, even if you can read the English, just read every day, even if it's 3 lines. How long does that take? 10 minutes? No. 2 minutes? No. 1 minute. It takes probably less than 1 minute to read 3 lines. The Quran has verses which change your heart, change your paradigm, change your thoughts, make you have a thought revolution, make you think in a totally lateral way, change your perspective, and the reminder benefits the believer. Okay? Quranly app has changed my life ever since I downloaded the app. May Allah bless you. That's what I'm talking about. So when we're talking about the Quranly app, we need to understand it is definitely life-changing. It can impact your life. Tell us, brother Daniel, how did Quranly impact your life? Let's hear from you. All righty. Waiting for brother Daniel Ekon to speak. My battery of my laptop is dying. How is brother Isa? He's good. He's very good. Very good. Big Bang never happened. You're opening up a big topic. There's no billions of years, therefore evolution, therefore no evolution. No, I think we can say with a degree of confidence that the universe is billions of years old. The Earth is 4 something billion years old, and universe is 14, 15 billion years old. I don't think there's any problem with that. All right, my brothers, sisters, Jazakallah khair for watching. It was really lovely speaking to you all. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.